Hello, welcome to the House of the Spirit. Welcome home. This is going to be a reading for the sign of Sagittarius for the month of June 2024. So let's see what we have for Sagittarius. While I'm shuffling the cards, I would also like to ask you to please subscribe to the channel if you want to get some more of my videos in your feed, and also like and share if you resonate with the message of this video. Let's see, what do we have for Sagittarius for the month of June? Okay, let's start with, okay, let me just cover this card. Sorry about that. So first card we have is Lakshmi with abundance. Beautiful. And the second card is Sedna with victim. Okay, let's see. Okay, this is good. So for the tarot cards, the King of Swords, the Page of Cups, the Seven of Pentacles, and the Magician. Interesting. Okay. Six of Pentacles, Ace of Swords, Three of Wands, and the Death card. It's also quite interesting that I feel like this reading is very organized and symmetrical. It's four cards. It's not always like that, and other readings are a little bit more, you have more cards on one side, less cards on the other. So I just go with what I feel my intuition is asking for. And I also felt like the cards were really easy to come out, like they were very assertive, let's say. And it's very neat. Okay, secret, mystery, stability, protection, solitude, and ordeal. And, oh, duality, alternation, paradox, hardship, mediation, and threshold. Duality. So there's this sense of duality this month. There's like two powers trying to balance themselves out, I guess. And maybe there's a turning point, because there's the before and there's the after. There's a dark side and a light side. That's what I'm feeling here. And immediately I feel like there's this need for balancing these two opposing forces and making some kind of maybe a decision or a discovery or an action that changes things, yeah. But I believe that action will stem from a discovery. Well, this month I decided to dive a little bit deeper into the mythology of the cards. So here we have the goddess oracle that has many mythologies all together in one deck. And on this part of the reading, we have the Western mythology with the Greek tradition. And on this part of the reading, the right one, we have the Sacred India Tarot with the Indian tradition. So let me just meditate for a little bit on your cards and study all the mythology in each one of the cards so that we can start our reading. Okay, So let's start with the card Lakshmi, representing abundance, and the card Sedna, representing the victim, the feeling of being victimized. So Lakshmi is, of course, the goddess, the Hindu goddess of good fortune, of spiritual abundance. Also, she represents also all the earthy aspects of abundance, of course. And I feel like with Sedna here, she was betrayed by her father, and she was the goddess that created the life in the ocean. So they're both so powerfully connected to life on earth that for me, this month will have, of course, it has this spiritual aspect. Always there's the spiritual dimension of everything that happens to us. But I feel like this month speaks to me about some very practical matters, something to do with land, with ownership, with nature. And it's also a continuity from what I remember are the readings for Sagittarius, actually. So I feel like you've been put in a position where a tough decision has to be made, and there is this duality to it. There's this paradoxical feeling to it. So on that note, I would like to focus on these two cards, the Magician and the King of Swords, for now. In the King of Swords card, we have Odysseus, the King of Ithaca. And he was famous for his role in the Trojan War. And he represents the fair ruler and warrior king. He was crafty but not malicious. He was a brilliant, skillful, and strategist, but not he represents the fairness, and also he didn't mistreat his prisoners. He tried to be fair with everyone, even his own enemies. And with the Magician card, we have Hermes. He's, of course, the god of magic and the guide of travelers, ruler of magic and divination, and also bringer of sudden good luck and changes in fortune. So there's this ambiguity here, this potential for trickery. There's this dark side and the light side. And I feel like there's some sort of decision, or there's a mishap that brought about the need for a decision, I feel. And there's something very concrete that you have to do. And here we have the Seven of Pentacles and the Page of Cups for me, that have a lot to do with this earthiness, also with this there's something material, there's something to do with the material nature of your life, and there's a decision to be made, because there's this potential for victimhood, for being unfairly judged or unfairly treated, or like cheated out of your own abundance. And on the second part of the reading, that I have this intuition, but I will dive deeper after. I feel like there's something that you have to do, and here's the more the nitty-gritty of it and the clarifying part of what you have to do. But here the message is to be aware of this possibility for trickery, and to keep your feet on the ground. Actually, this figure here, it's Narcissus. It's very famous for being the myth that represents people who are obsessed with themselves, self-centered. But to me here, this represents the looking beyond appearances, because the most poignant part of the myth of Narcissus for me is the fact that he never got to know who he really was, because he fell in love with how he looked, with his reflection. And his reflection is just the outer part, right? So there's something deeper, there's something underwater. Yeah, that's interesting, right? Because Lakshmi is emerging from a lotus that's floating over water, and actually it looks like the sea. And then you have Sedna, which is the goddess of the sea life, right? Of the sea. And there's this deeper understanding that is needed here. There's something that's going to emerge for you from this deeper understanding, and it's going to have a massive impact on a decision that you have to make about something practical that has to do with property or with, I don't know, land, something connected to nature, real estate, maybe even like inheritances, also family, you know, legacy. Okay, so regarding the Seven of Pentacles, here we have Daedalus, and he's in the palace of King Minos, and he's talking to Queen Pasiphae. She's Minos's wife, and he's being faced with a decision. The decision is to start something new, a new project, and to invest in it, or to keep doing what you are already doing. And I feel like however this resonates, I feel like you have to decide whatever is right and fair for everyone, for yourself, because I feel like you have to know your needs very, very well, because maybe you are overlooking something and it's putting you in a position of victim, because you are not seeing deeper into your own needs. Maybe you are being unfair to yourself here. It's very important that you feel like you're fair to others, because things start to fall apart if you don't feel like that, because I think that is a very, very important core value to whoever I'm talking to right now. Keep that in mind, of course, but the advice here is to try to know yourself a little bit better, and to be very, very aware of your own needs, because the Magician has the power to choose. I feel like you are being given the power to choose. He's pointing up, he's pointing down. He's in a crossroads, but he has all the tools he needs to create his own reality, to create his future, right? To know what to do with his resources. So, but there's an ambiguous side to this. Maybe you have to make peace with doing a little bit of it's not being evil, it's not being bad, but to maybe do something that you wouldn't do normally in order to balance the situation, in order for it to be fair. And sometimes it seems like we are acting like, people might say that we are acting differently, or that we are not ourselves anymore, or they don't recognize us. But I feel like there's this decision that you have to make in order to balance this situation. And now I would like to focus a little bit more on this part of the reading, so just give me a moment to meditate. So, on this second part of the reading, where we have the Indian myth, there's this confirmation of this light and dark to whatever you are processing at the moment. This light and dark theme is in all of the cards. But one of the cards, to me, is the indicator of what is the advice and what you have to do and how you need to proceed going forward. And it's the Ace of Swords. The Ace of Swords here is also calling for maybe consulting a legal advisor, or proceeding with some legal action in whatever this is, to solve it, and not being afraid to do it. Realizing that you need to be kind of impervious, kind of so well centered in your truth and in your own being, so well grounded that you will not be deceived, and you will accept the results as being fair, as being part of your own path, right? You have the King of Swords here with the scales of justice. So to me, on a very practical level, this is what's at stake. Now, if we dive a little bit deeper into the cards, starting with the Six of Pentacles here, we have the enlightenment of Buddha. And at this point, he was being challenged by Mara, the Satan figure in Buddhism. And he was trying to, of course, destroy Buddha's meditating state. And here he fails completely. And this is like the turning point here. If you realize this truth about yourself and your situation, you will know exactly how to proceed once you have to do this legal action, or to move this forward into a more like written down, legally sound situation. This might have to do with family, with property, real estate, some sort of inheritance, some sort of land ownership, material. I feel like this is a very material based situation. Of course it does affect you on many levels, but I don't feel like you're going to suffer, actually, because Buddha achieved this state of enlightenment exactly because he was challenged by Mara, by all his minions, trying to break his meditative state and his tranquility. And he was not identifying himself anymore with the personality, the desires, and the passions, right? So he wasn't sad anymore, and he was not passionate anymore about life. He achieved a perfect detachment, balanced and loving detachment. And then in the Three of Wands, we have Ravana. And he has been truthfully told that Rama and his army are invincible, but he disdains such honesty. So here we have someone who has a first glimmer of success in life, but isn't really aware of the full situation. So the Three of Wands typically is also a card of seeing some fruits of what you have set yourself out to do, right? But the thing is, this is a Ravana, right? So he's a shape-shifting sorcerer, and he's a fearsome figure. He has a sort of supernatural success, right? He has achieved something. I am so sorry I was briefly interrupted, but I didn't want to stray from this train of thought that I'm having about this card, the Three of Wands. I feel like this also is a little bit of a warning to realize that many details about the situation are maybe in the process of revealing themselves. They're not quite ready, and that might imply that you have to look deeper again, right? It's the same kind of feeling of being patient and not being like arrogant or not rushing in, into a situation where you're too confident, overconfident, because there's this need to look under the surface, to look beyond, right? And finally, we have Kali. And this card is quite complex, right? Kali is a great goddess, and she's the dark goddess, but she has amazing positive qualities and incredible negative qualities also, because she has this polarizing effect. And once again, we have this idea of duality, of a paradoxical situation where maybe you will be faced with these polar opposing views, and it might seem a little bit hard, right, to face those difficult antagonical, right, opposing energies that are hard to balance. But I feel like it's a part of what you have to discover about yourself. And with Kali, you can be sure that you are protected, and that whatever is happening is for the greater good, and it's for your immense spiritual growth. And we are starting with Lakshmi and ending with Kali. So there's this powerful spiritual protection here that I feel like is going to unlock a part of yourself that you didn't know, that it was mysterious for you, but it will feel like it's magical. It will feel like you are guided. It will feel like you are blessed and protected. And through this kind of mediating and balancing act that you have to go through, you are going to achieve something exquisite, something very, very beautiful. Spiritually, it's incredible, right? It's an incredible it's a coming of age process. And this is also something that is on like a subtext in all these cards. These cards are talking to me about this story of growing up, of maturing. Here with the Page of Cups that represents also that story of maturing, the process of starting your maturing process of, and also you have this natural setting, right? You have the cycles of nature, that natural evolving and fruitful, and then there's fruitfulness, there's this cyclic decay and death and rebirth process. But as it's moving, it's also maturing, right? It's also getting better at something. It's also learning constantly and adapting. So I feel like with the Magician, there's true magic here, and there's protection, there's divine protection in this whole process that you have to go through. And to end with the reminding you of the advice that was to get legal advice and go through the process. If you're in like doubting yourself, should I go to not to court, because I don't think that is the specific case. It might be, but it also might be that you just need to get things on paper, very, very clear, get legal advice, and get things moving on that front. This is the advice here. So if it's very specific, I'm so sorry, but this is what I saw, and these cards are very, very clear to me. There's this ambiguity that has to be solved. It's a delicate situation, and it's okay to get help and to go on this path of really, going through the very fine details with legal help and solving this problem. So if you like this video, please hit the like button, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and also leave me your comments in the comment section below, and I hope to see you very soon. Bye!